Life is not the same for everyone, and it can test anyone at any time. After the death of my wife, Rose, everything changed. Everything. This house no longer feels like a home. I don't laugh anymore, and I barely talk now because there is no one left to listen to my words. She was the only one who truly understood me. She was the only one who listened. Now, as far as I can see, there is no one left who hears me. And today, I am doing something I never thought I would do. Before we begin, thank you so much for watching. Welcome to our channel. This is my story, and I'd be happy if you share in the comments the country you're watching from. I hope you like this story. Now, let's start. The Ghost in the Garage. The Quiet on Elm Street. In the small town of United States of America, the winters had started staying longer than they used to. For Peter, the cold wasn't just in the air, it had settled into the very floorboards of the house he had shared with Rose for 45 years. The house was a beautiful, aging Victorian, painted a soft cream with forest green shutters. For decades, it had been a place of light. But since Rose's passing 2 months ago, the rooms had grown cavernous. Every ticking clock sounded like a hammer against a nail. At 72, Peter found himself a stranger in his own hallways. The financial walls were closing in. In the United States, the golden years are often a myth for the blue-collar man. Property taxes had surged as the town gentrified, and the medical debt from Rose's final battle with cancer sat on the kitchen table like an uninvited guest. Peter had owned Miller's Automotive for 40 years, but his hands shook too much for precision engine work, and the rising rent on the shop space had finally forced him to turn the deadbolt for the last time. Without the shop and without Rose, Peter was a man without a compass. The relic of 1978. Tucked away in the detached garage, hidden behind stacks of winter tires and old boxes of Rose's sewing supplies, sat the only thing Peter had left of value, a 1978 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. It was midnight blue, a color so deep it looked black until the sun hit it. He had bought it brand new in the summer of '78, just after they moved into the house. He remembered the day he brought it home. Rose had been standing on the porch, wiping her hands on a floral apron, laughing as he revved the engine. "Peter Miller, you're a child," she had shouted over the roar of the V8. But she had climbed into the passenger seat anyway, and they had driven 3 hours to the coast just to feel the salt air. For 47 years, that car was the third member of their family. It had carried them to weddings, to funerals, and on aimless Sunday drives when the world felt too heavy. To anyone else, it was a machine of steel and glass. To Peter, it was a vessel that held the scent of Rose's perfume, a mix of lavender and peppermint, which still lingered in the fabric of the headliner. The hard decision. The letter from the bank arrived on a Tuesday. It was polite, but firm. Between the mortgage adjustment and the outstanding hospital bills, Peter was drowning. He sat at the small breakfast nook where Rose used to do the crossword. Her half-finished tea tin was still on the shelf. "I can't lose the house, Rose," he whispered to the empty air. "It's all I have left of you." But to keep the house, he had to give up the car. He posted the ad on a classic car forum. Within an hour, his phone was blowing up. A 1978 Firebird Trans Am in original condition, single owner, was a holy grail for collectors. He ignored the first 10 calls. On the 11th, he finally picked up. It was a collector from New York, a man with a voice that sounded like money and a lack of history. The final wash. The day the buyer was set to arrive, Peter spent 6 hours in the garage. He didn't use a hose, he used a bucket of warm water and a soft chamois, cleaning the car as if he were bathing a child. As he wiped down the dashboard, he found a small dried rose petal in the ashtray. Rose had put it there years ago for good luck. He tucked it into his shirt pocket, right over his heart. He checked the oil one last time. He polished the chrome Screaming Chicken emblem on the hood until it glowed. He sat in the driver's seat and closed his eyes. He could almost hear the 1970s rock music on the radio. He could almost feel her hand on his shoulder. "I'm sorry," he whispered to the steering wheel. "I'm so sorry." The departure. A sleek black SUV pulled into the driveway at 4 p.m. A young man in a designer suit stepped out. He didn't look at the house or the garden Rose had spent years tending. He only looked at the car. "She's a beauty," he said, snapping a photo with his phone. "Museum quality." Peter didn't say much. He couldn't. He watched the man inspect the engine, heard him talk about resale value and market trends. To this man, it was an asset. To Peter, it was his life's blood. The exchange was cold and digital, a transfer of funds that cleared the debt but left Peter feeling hollow. The man loaded the Firebird onto a flatbed trailer. As the winch pulled the car up, the metal groaned, a sound that tore through Peter's chest. Part V. The empty space. Peter walked back into the garage. The oil stains on the concrete marked the spot where the Firebird had lived for nearly half a century. It looked like an open wound. He went back inside the house. It was warm. The money from the car would pay for the heating oil for 2 years. He wouldn't lose the roof over his head. But as he sat in the dark living room looking at Rose's photograph on the mantel, he realized the cost of survival. He had saved the house, but he had lost the last thing that moved. The house was a monument to what they had. The car had been a reminder of how they had lived. He took the dried rose petal from his pocket, placed it next to her photo, and for the first time in 2 months, Peter Miller let out a long, shaky breath. He was still standing, but the road ahead was very, very quiet.